She told me she came from an ancient family, but I never knew her family name. She was my friend, my partner in my studies, and later, my wife. I never discovered her family name. Maybe she did not want me to know, but I cannot remember. One thing I do remember well: Sophia was tall and slim. Later, she became very thin. How can I describe her quiet, elegant movements, or the soft sound of her steps? If she came into my office, I only knew she was there when she spoke, or when she placed her white hand on my shoulder. She had a beautiful face, but it was not a usual kind of beauty. There was something different about it. Was it her pure white skin, or her thick black hair? I often looked at her delicate nose. It was perfect. Her soft red lips were lovely, and when she smiled, her teeth were white, but her eyes were the most unusual. They were bigger than normal eyes, black with long lashes. When she was excited, they looked like a deer's eyes, but there was something strange in them. For many hours, sometimes all night, I thought about it. I tried to understand their expression. Many times, I thought I had the answer, but then it was gone. Sophia was very determined. She was always calm, but her eyes showed her strong will. Sometimes it frightened me. She was very clever. She knew Latin and Greek very well, and she spoke many other languages perfectly. She never made a mistake. She also studied science and mathematics. When we first married, she helped me with my studies. We worked together. But after she died, I was alone, like a child in the dark. When she first became ill, she did not help me as often. She lost weight, and her skin became pale and thin. When I saw that she was dying, I felt hopeless. Sophia fought against death with all her strength. She was determined. I watched in a nightmare as she fought for her life. I knew she loved me, but I only understood how much when she was dying. She held my hands and told me she was devoted to me. On the night she died, she suddenly got out of bed and cried, "Oh God, must I die? Must I lose my fight with death? No, I can't die like this." But my dear Sophia died. I was so sad that I could not stay in the old city by the Rhine. For a few months, I traveled. Then I bought an old monastery in an isolated part of England. This dark, sad place expressed my feelings of loneliness, but I decorated it with bright colors, hoping they would make me feel happier. They did not. I began to drink too much, but I do not want to talk about that time. One day, I married Lady Alice Carter of Tain. My new wife had blonde hair and blue eyes. She was very different from my first wife, but how could I forget Sophia? I took Alice to a room high up in the tower of the monastery. We lived there for the first month of our marriage. The room was very large, with a big glass window from Venice. The ceiling was high, like a church, and in the center, there was a golden chandelier. The walls had long tapestries with gold designs. They moved every time the wind blew. My wife was afraid of me. I was often sad and depressed. She did not love me much and stayed away from me, but I preferred this. I always thought about Sophia, my beautiful Sophia, dead in the tomb. Sometimes, in my dreams, I called her name in the night. I imagined that my love could bring her back to me. At the beginning of the second month, Lady Alice became ill. She could not sleep well. She said she heard sounds in the tower. "You have a fever," I said. "You're imagining things." She got better, but then she fell ill again. The doctors could not understand it. Again, she heard sounds in the bedroom. One night in September, she woke up suddenly. I was sitting on a sofa by her bed. She whispered that she could hear something moving. Her face was white with fear. From across the room, I saw some wine on the table. As I walked under the chandelier, something strange happened. I felt something invisible touch me. On shadow, almost the shadow of a shadow. I said nothing to Alice. I poured her a glass of wine and gave it to her. After a moment, I heard quiet footsteps on the carpet. As Alice lifted her glass, I saw 3 or 4 drops of bright red liquid fall into it. She did not see them and drank the wine. The next night, she died. Her servants prepared her body for the tomb. That night, I sat alone with her in the bedroom. Strange shapes moved around me. I felt afraid. Then at midnight, I heard a sound. It was quiet but clear. I looked at Alice. Her face had a little color. I understood that she was not dead. I tried to wake her, but soon the color left her face, and she was cold again. An hour later, I heard the same sound. I listened. Yes, there it was again. A sigh from the bed. I ran to her. Her lips moved, and her cheeks became pink. Her body became warm. Lady Alice was alive. I tried everything to wake her, but soon her heart stopped again. Her body became cold. Then, for the 3rd time, I heard a sound from the bed. But why must I describe the horrors of that night? Every time she seemed to return to life, she changed. It was nearly dawn when she moved again. This time, she had more energy. She suddenly got out of bed and walked slowly to the center of the room, as if she were asleep. I did not move. I was frozen in fear. I looked at her. Was she really alive? Why wasn't I sure? Then I saw her long hair moving in the wind. It was black, darker than midnight. Slowly, her eyes opened. I shouted like a madman, "These are the black eyes of my lost love, the eyes of Sophia."